Panthers now 1-4 after Sunday's 37-15 loss to the San Francisco 49ers. That's 11 losses in their last 12 games. Julian Council from On Panthers joining us, win or lose every week. Julian, there seems to be a sense, it's been here locally, now there's a sense nationally that Matt Rhule might have coached his last game for Carolina. Do you think there's a chance that there's a change before this team heads to L.A.?
There's always a chance. I don't know if it's the best week to do it, considering it's an interim. You got a cross-country road trip. Do you want to fire him then? But for me, it's taken a while for me to get here. But it's well past time for the Carolina Panthers to move off of Matt Rhule as their head coach. They're 11-27 with him as their head coach. They're 1-28 when they allow 17-plus points in a game. It's just not going to work out. It's unfortunate. This is the hand-picked coach that David Tepper wanted here in Carolina. Matt Rhule has just not been able to coach a winning football team. That and the quarterback play and getting that wrong 3 straight times with Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, and now Baker Mayfield, that's led to his demise among many other things. I don't think this is a bad football team. I mean, at the end of the day, your record says you're 1-4. Defensively, they're not bad. Special teams-wise, they're dramatically improved from what they were last season. The problem is, though, they just aren't winning games. So at the end of the day, you have to look at the head coach. And unfortunately, Matt Rhule is not going to be here much longer. And I know for a lot of people out there, they're going to be happy about that. I certainly don't take any pleasure in talking about Matt Rhule losing his job, because it's not just Matt Rhule who's going to lose his job. There's a lot of people who aren't generationally wealthy who are going to lose their jobs, like support staff. They're going to have to try and find another opportunity in the NFL or in college. And I feel for those people. No, Matt Rhule, it's his career. So in a way, I do have empathy for him. I know I'm not a millionaire, so certainly would love to have his money. But this guy didn't leave a good job at Baylor and Waco, move his family here, go through a pandemic where his kids had to do learning from home and all that, to not have things work out here in Carolina. And that's a lot of people within an organization, a lot of wives who are going to have their lives uprooted as well. So I feel bad for them in that manner, but it's necessary at this point in time. I understand the players still behind him. It's just not going to work out. And it's clear to me. It probably should have been clear to me last season, but it's very clear to me that at 1-4, it's time to move on. Yeah, you talk about the players and their support of Matt Rhule. I mean, 2 key players and leaders, Brian Burns and Christian McCaffrey, so both sides of the ball, passionately defending Matt Rhule even after this loss. So he still hasn't lost the locker room, which is kind of impressive. It's a good thing.
Yeah, where do you think the disconnect lies from what's going on in the locker room to the field on Sunday?
That's the question. And I know the media was asking Baker Mayfield about that, and I think we're all trying to figure out what's going on, because defensively, you have one of the best defenses in the league. He talked about going from good to great this season when they got the training camp down at Wofford. He was talking about the red zone. They've been one of the best teams in the league in the red zone as far as defense goes. Takeaways. They've had 5 takeaways the last 3 weeks. That had been an issue. This is a defense that can score. They're opportunistic. They can make plays. They're not great at getting to the passer anymore. Would really love to have Hassan Reddick, who's doing a great job in Philadelphia, back home with the Eagles this year, who are 5-0, by the way. So I don't know what's going on. Special teams I can talk about, that's better. The quarterback play, though, it's killing this team. And Baker, I understand he didn't have mandatory minicamp and OTAs. I understand he didn't have all the reps down at Spartanburg and even throughout the preseason, but he just has not been good enough. Maybe it's going to get better, but at this point in time, through 5 games, I don't really know if they have much time to get right, considering they already feel like they're out of the playoff hunt. I mean, certainly they are. There's plenty of time left. I don't know what the disconnect is, and that's really the thing, because you look at it, the players are behind him, but really the best defensive Matt Rhule for the players would be going out there and executing and winning games, and they certainly have not done that, which is a reflection on them, but really a reflection on the head coach at the end of the day.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield leaving the locker room in a walking boot, a noticeable limp, played the whole second half with it. Yeah. I highly doubt Sam Darnold is going to be activated and ready to play in L.A. We'll see what happens there. I thought the offense played better than I expected for the most part against a really good Niners defense. The backbreaker the whole game was that pick 6. I mean, do you think there's any salvaging Baker Mayfield in this offense, and then Inso for salvaging any part of the season?
I don't disagree with you. The offense wasn't visually upsetting like it had been the last couple weeks.
A low bar.
Because they had been really offensive. Like, you were wondering, what is going on here? Now, they're still on pace. I wonder, because of what the NFL record is for third down conversion percentage, because they were terrible once again. They were only coming into the game converting about a quarter of their third downs. Like, that is an issue, and I don't know how that's going to get fixed. The offensive line wasn't great, but they're better than what they were last year. You have weapons in DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. We even got to see a little bit of Terrace Marshall, which I think is a good thing. He finally gets a jersey for the first time since week 2 when they played against the Giants. I don't know what there can be done, especially when the quarterback is just not executing. You didn't see any batted balls at the line of scrimmage today, which is good. The quarterback has just not been good enough, and I don't know how you're going to be able to salvage it at this point in time, because this is an offense that needed a preseason. But we know how preseason is treated. You barely have them out there playing live bullets. But this team really needed to get more continuity, and you're seeing that's kind of come back to biting them here in the first 5 weeks of the season, where they have been among the league's worst in many categories.
Yeah, okay, well, there's 12 games left. They're 1-0 in division play, as I'm sure they'll point out a lot soon. But big picture, I mean, let's say they're not able to salvage the rest of the season and there is a coaching change. Where does that leave this team right now? They've got good pieces. Salary cap may have them in trouble next year. I mean, is it some people just want to blow it up? Some people want to tank? Like, big picture, where does that leave this franchise?
You have to wonder, too, because it's a lot of Rhule coach guys back from Temple and Baylor, and you're looking at a bunch of players who really have not won anything in the league, especially guys that have been around, like Christian McCaffrey, his rookie year, 2017. Last time they went to the playoffs. Shaq Thompson was there, but he wasn't a key part of that team playing behind Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly. Like, we're seeing now a bunch of guys who just know nothing but losing. It's a young team. It takes a while to learn. But we're looking at Philadelphia. Like, Philadelphia's turning it around. They went to the playoffs last year. They're the best team in the NFL at this point in time. Look at the Giants with Daniel Jones. The Charlotte kid went to Charlotte Latin and went to Duke. They're 4-1. It should not take that long. And I don't think for Carolina, if you bring in a good quarterback, and it's going to take time, they probably need to go the traditional route, get a rookie quarterback in the first round, not a third rounder like Matt Rhule. Get someone in the first round. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, those are three names I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about once that draft time comes. And get an offensive-minded head coach who probably comes from that McVay-Shanahan tree, because that's been in vogue in the NFL. And find someone else who can coach his defense, because this has been a really good defense. I think they're not that far off. Because when Matt Rhule says they're close, I agree. The problem is I don't think they're good enough coaching-wise, and in the quarterback play is holding them back. And those are two things in the NFL you can't really overcome. It's bad coaching at the head and then bad quarterback play. And that certainly has played the Carolina Panthers for now, 38 games of the Matt Rhule era?
All right. You can listen to this guy every day of the week on Locked On Panthers podcasts. I think it's going to be a busy week, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be.
A lot of people are going to have something to say. Julian, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.